What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RiOT Comedy Podcast presented by RiOT. Shout out to RiOT, natural spring water, keeping us healthy and hydrated over here.
Yep.
The NBA returns today,
It's
baby.
back, baby.
The NBA is back. Best day of the year. The only day that compares with this is Christmas. Everything else is secondary.
We got to watch the Ravens win last night. Got to watch some football, but who cares, right? Who cares anymore about the NFL? The Rams suck, and NBA's back.
Last night was the last day of football that I cared about.
Me
now
too.
I don't care. The NBA's back. Football season might as well be over for me. It don't matter.
Yeah, I'm ready. Like, once NFL week 15, 16, 17 gets here, I'll tune in a little bit more. But, like, NBA's back. Dog. I won't even move from my couch for the next 4 days. That's just where I'm at. I'm gonna poop my pants and everything, dog. I'm gonna be on my couch poopy and pissy, dog, just sitting there, just can't even move because I'm so excited.
You get you a bedpan.
I'm gonna take some of my kids' diapers. Just put a little diaper on me, dog, and I'll just have to pinch it off halfway because they're not big enough for my big man dumps.
I'm working on this mount that sits on my shoulders, and it holds an iPad in front of you, and you just never have to miss NBA action.
Pretty sure you can wear like an Oculus headset or really any. Oh, I'm pretty sure there's inventions for this. Google Glasses, like there's got to be something out there that you don't have to wear a stupid box around your face.
The Oculus probably got it. The Oculus probably has it.
But then I feel like the Oculus is like, because NBA was trying that thing of like, oh, you're on the sideline watching the game yourself, and I don't even want to do that. I want to be able to see the whole play develop from an aerial shot.
Yeah, I want the TV view. I want the TV view if I'm not at the game.
I don't think it went very well. I haven't heard anybody market it for like a year now or a year and a half. So I think most people felt the way that we did. If I'm too poor to go to the game like I am right now, I'll just watch it. I'll just watch it. How can you even feel more poor than like I can't go to the game, so I'm going to pretend that I'm there? Like, just watch it on TV like you've been doing for the last 20 years.
I'd rather just watch it on a big-ass TV.
100%.
Give me a big-ass
not
TV.
Even close. And then I can still get up and take a piss and eat some food and, like, all these things. Like, come on. So, anyways, NBA season starting. I see a lot of people. What do you say?
I said first game tonight. Boston, New York. Who you taking?
Boston. If you got no matter how
Lakers.
many times in all 82 games, I'm taking Boston that they play. Now they'll lose some of those, but they're going to win way more than they lose. Like they're probably going to win like 65 games, and I've been seeing other people talking about
Lakers,
like Wolves. It's a big moment. LeBron James is going to lose. It just is what it is. Ask Anthony Davis; he'll tell you.
He always loses those games every time.
But I've been watching a lot of people talking about who's going to be the league MVP, who's going to be this, who's going to be that, defensive player of the year. I feel like we did it a long time ago, but that stuff is almost easy to predict at this point since they pick those awards before the season starts, it seems like, with the media.
Right.
So
always.
I got a little bit more deep dive questions for you. Like who's going to lead the league in points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks. And then I also have another question for you. We'll kind of rapid fire these, but I've heard some murmurs through my back channels of the NBA of some trade ideas, and I want to hear what you have to say about it. But we'll start off, something clean. Who's going to lead the league in points per game this year? And keep in mind that I do, like, barring injury, who's going to lead the league in points this year?
I think Luka is going to lead the league in points this year.
Really? I ain't mad at it. He just seems like the kind of guy that's just like, I don't take the regular season serious enough. Like, I'm for the playoffs, baby.
He can still get enough points not taking things super serious. I think he's that skilled of a scorer.
Yeah, true, and he's going to be open more than ever this year. I think it's going to be Giannis. I like Giannis this year for points per game. I think he's going to be out to prove something. Been pretty disappointing the last couple years in Milwaukee, last 3 or 4 really. So I think he's going to come out with a vengeance, try to get a pretty high seed. Especially with Middleton out to start the season. I don't know how long he's going to be out.
Has Giannis ever won a scoring title?
I don't know the answer to that. I would say maybe.
Surely not, right?
I feel like he has to have a season where he was getting 30, 31 a game, like during his MVP years and things like that. So, but that's my pick. I think Giannis is going to win the scoring title this year. It'd be cool to see. Like, how many people have a Defensive Player of the Year award and a scoring title? Probably not very many. Probably one, if I had to guess.
Probably just MJ.
Probably just MJ. I don't think Olajuwon ever had a scoring title. He might have though, but maybe. But I
No,
don't.
no, 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 no.
Not to my
He ain't got no
knowledge.
scoring titles.
Not to my knowledge. So, like I said, we'll keep rapid firing in through this. Who's going to lead the league in blocks? Wemby. Okay, cool. Decided on that
Wemby.
all day
For
by a
sure.
large margin.
For the next 10 years, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 years, the answer is the same.
He won't win it in like another 2 years just because people know the deal. Eventually, people will be afraid.
Yeah, they'll just quit going down there.
They'll just
Yeah.
be like, fuck it. It's just like Dwight Howard, like, fuck it. Just shoot jump shots. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah,
Assist
for sure.
leader this year.
Oh, that's tough. My initial reaction was Jalen Brunson, but I think he scores too much to chase an assist title.
It's going to be Halliburton.
Oh yeah,
There
obviously.
you go. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like you were forgetting about him
I was
right
like,
there.
I was like, I know there's someone that I'm not thinking of. That's like the obvious answer for this question. Like who?
yeah, it's going to be
But
Halliburton
yeah,
for sure.
it'll be Halliburton for sure, for sure.
And then steals leader, who even knows? Like, it's somebody different, it seems like, every single season.
And the skills leader isn't always someone who's great at defense. Sometimes it's someone who's just like good at playing the passing lanes. You know,
I.e. Steph. Like, shove
right?
Steph
Yeah,
Curry's
that
name in there.
happens every now and again. Like it's like Magic Johnson led the league in steals a few times. Again, he wasn't like the superb defender by any means. I don't even think he ever made an all defensive team in like first or second team.
Yeah.
But also great at playing the passing lanes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows who the steals leader is going to be? You can never know. Like it. I don't
It
know.
might be Ant.
It's almost never like the best one-on-one defender though.
It might be
Would you say
Ant.
it might be who?
Ant. We might see Ant come out and get it.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to play
Yeah, I
really
can see
hard
that.
this year, to maintain
Yeah.
position in the West. So I
Yeah,
think
no
that there's
doubt.
a chance he gets it. But we'll see. Like, somebody on like Caruso might get it on the Thunder. Like, Shea might even get it. There's who knows at this point. And then I heard
Is
some
Wemby or
rumblings.
Rudy? Is real quick? Is Wemby or Rudy going to lead the league in rebounds?
Probably Wemby. Probably Wemby if I had to guess. He's just a far better athlete, far better player. And the
He
word's
also
out.
added like 25 pounds of muscle.
The word's
like,
out
this
on-
offseason.
The word's out on Rudy Gobert. That boy's minutes are going down this year too, dog. Like, especially without Cat there, and Julius Randle's going to be a shaky 3-point shooter. It's one of those things where it's just Rudy Gobert has no business on the court a lot of the time with Julius Randle, and I think it's not going to be long before the Timberwolves realize it. And they're going to realize it very quickly. Like, these guys are only going to be playing 18 minutes a night together probably because they are a terrible, terrible, terrible fit. And then some rumblings that I've heard, and I don't know how true it is. We'll see. I mean, it's interesting, would be Michael Porter Jr. for Zach LaVine. That's a rumor that I've heard rumbling around.
That would be interesting.
What's your thoughts on it, man?
Oh, I would love that move for Denver. I think that would be great. I think
Yeah?
Michael Porter Jr., as good of a scorer as he is, he's worthless at every other aspect of the game. This fool can't pass. He can't play make. He can't play defense. He can't do nothing. He doesn't look for his teammates. He's honestly like, I hate watching him play basketball.
Well, he's not even that
He's-
good of
he's
a
that
scorer.
dude to me.
Like, you shoot 41, 42%
He's
from
not.
three, which is awesome. But, like, he can't go out there and create. And at this point, like, so
for
this
sure.
this is the big question would be is,
He's a shooter. I should say shooter, not scorer.
based on history of health, can you dedicate $100 million a year to Jamal Murray and Zach LaVine? $90 million a year, roughly, is what it would be probably a year.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
If you're Denver and you're like, well, our window's shrinking, who cares? Probably not going to get a better player for Michael Porter Jr. unless for some reason you could convince Pat Riley to take him for Jimmy Butler, but you ain't getting that done. That deal ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I like it in the sense of, like, now Jamal Murray gets to be the third best player. He's not as good as he has been. And people say,
Yeah.
well, he's been injured. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Like, I hate when people say, well, he's been injured, so we'll see. Injuries mount up, everybody. It's not like a magic wand where it's like, okay,
Right.
I've recovered from this injury, now I'm good again. That's not a thing.
Right.
Like there's only I can't even like Kevin Durant's the only player I can even think of who can just injure himself whenever he wants, and it's just like here's 30 a night still. He's the only player who can
Real
even
talk,
do it
dude.
for real.
Real
Like even
talk,
like
man.
Steph comes back from injuries,
That dude's insane.
but Steph's injuries have been like ankle, and then he broke his wrist or some shit. Nothing that's that big of a deal. KD's like boom,
Yeah.
torn Achilles, boom, torn ACL, boom, something else. Like and it doesn't matter. So and
KD is
they
he's such a unique player. Like this dude could score 25 a game until he's 40 years old, easy.
oh yeah,
So I don't know.
no problem.
He's probably like 35, right? 36,
KD's 37,
37,
I believe.
37.
Because LeBron's about to be 40. There's no way LeBron's like 5 years
Yeah.
older than KD. When was KD
Yeah.
drafted? Like 08?
07.
And he spent
And
a
he went
year
to
in college.
a year.
So he could have been in
so
the
he's 4 years
06
younger.
draft. Like 07. So this dude's been in the league for this is like his 17th season. Like so he's going to be 36, 37.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I kind of like the move for Denver. Just in the sense of
I
now
love
you
it.
got
I think it's great.
now you got two good athletes out on the court with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. It's a lot of money. You know, I wouldn't have given Jamal Murray his extension. I would have just made him play this year out. Same thing with Aaron Gordon. That way I have like some
Same.
cap space and flexibility. But I do think extending Aaron Gordon's a good play because he's healthy all the time and he's going to be super easy to trade at like 31 million bucks a year.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like a lot.
I like that move too.
But like Giannis is like, you know, like Dame's getting 62 million bucks this year. Jaylen Brown's going to get 62. Jason Tatum's going to get 59. Like LeBron's getting 60 damn near. So, you know, Aaron Gordon's easily half as valuable as all these players on a basketball team. So at the end of the day,
Yeah, absolutely.
the money's worth it. But if you're Denver, you have to do something. I saw this Windhurst put up his top 5 teams in the league, and he had Denver at like number 4. I'm like, they're like I honestly think that Denver is going to
I don't know
struggle
about
to be a
that.
top 10 team in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah, straight up. Like, okay, so this is what we're kind of looking at here is Jamal Murray didn't even start in the Olympics, which he probably had like a nagging injury, something like that. But the Olympics weren't that long ago, everybody. They were like 2 months ago. So like, is he going to be fully healthy? Is he? And he only plays good against the Lakers now. So it's one of those things where you got your butts whooped pretty good against the Timberwolves, right? So like, are you
They
better
do
than
only play good
Dallas?
against the Lakers.
Are you better than Dallas? Probably not. Are you better than OKC? Probably not. Like, I think the Spurs would give them fits. So it's just one of those, like, the Spurs would be a bad matchup for them, like, for sure. Like, that's a bad matchup for them. But still, like, I think the
Yeah.
Spurs will give you fits. I think, like, there's a chance that Phoenix would give you fits and beat you. So I'm not a big believer in them. Like, I think that they're maybe a top 8, top 9 team in the league, and I think you have to do something about it or just keep being okay with getting bounced out in the second round of the playoffs. And, like, you might be able to squeeze to a conference finals, but, like, let's be honest, your guys aren't even close to competing for actually getting a world title. You're not
No,
even
they're
close.
not. They're not.
Not
I
even
think
close.
they'll be a top 10 team, but being a top 10 team doesn't make you a contender because there's never more than 3 contenders in a
No.
season. There's never
No.
more than 3. There's never more than 3 teams that are good enough to win a championship, and
No.
Denver ain't one of them. So
No,
we got
I
Boston.
agree.
I think Dallas is good enough to win the championship.
See, I don't.
And who else? Who's our third contender?
I think the way that they got
Is that
beat up
it?
last year by the Celtics,
Is it
like the
ju-
Mavericks
Is it
did,
just Boston?
I don't think the Mavericks are good enough to win a championship just because you got rid of one of your better perimeter defenders and added Klay Thompson, which like scoring's tight. But scoring was never the issue for Dallas. Like these cats were putting up 120 points a night in the regular season. It was never an issue. I think they got better though. But like when you look at like actual like full blown contenders in the NBA, I think you have Boston. I think that we'll see how OKC's progressed. Like if everybody on their team takes another step forward, then they're a legit contender. They got size, they got depth, they have the best defense. They're gonna have the best defense in the NBA. They have quite the player in Shea, so I think that they have a chance. And it's interesting because a lot of these teams that we say could be contenders, we haven't watched them play. So like, is New York a contender? Maybe. Is Philly a contender? Maybe. I have a lot more faith in Philly than I have in New York if there's no injuries. But at the same time,
I give you a straight up no. I'll give you a straight up no on both of those. Philly's not a contender. New York's not a contender.
well, we'll see. I think that New York could have one of like those magic seasons where it's like we're just really good. And Cat's a huge addition. Mikal Bridges is a huge addition.
Absolutely.
So like when you look at that team now, they're balanced. They have really good players at all their positions. They're a little weak at the 5 spot, but whatever. Like Cat can play the 5. So I'm not really tripping on that a ton. Jalen Brunson's a straight baller, but I'm with you. Like I'm not really buying that they're a full-blown contender. But like all these teams, like we haven't seen play. We haven't seen any of these guys play. So especially in the Eastern Conference, like the most proven commodity in the East besides Boston is like a second-round bounce out by Milwaukee because everybody else is just new. They're just new. And it's going to be difficult to beat Boston, who's been together for now 2 years, when you're out there throwing guys out new, not playing back-to-backs if you're Philly. That shit ain't gonna be easy. So it'll be interesting to see. And then is there anybody that like you would like who's your sleeper teams? Like this team could make a conference finals. Or you can just go sleeper of a team that full-blown missed the playoffs last year but will make the playoffs this year. One of the two. We'll start off in the East.
Yeah, because I don't think there are any sleeper teams that could like make the conference finals. I think there's like 4 teams in each conference that could make the conference finals, and that's it. And we ain't gonna see any surprises that deep in the NBA playoffs.
I think we could see some surprises out of Orlando. That team's very interesting.
That was my initial thought. Was if there is any sleeper team, it would be Orlando. However, I wouldn't pick them to make it to the conference finals and get past, obviously, Boston. I wouldn't pick them to get past Philly or Milwaukee or New York. There's 4 teams right there that 2 of those 4 teams are going to be in the conference finals. No one else has a chance. I don't think anyway.
No, I agree. It's just kind of like
in the West, it's like OKC and Dallas, and then we're looking at like.
Denver, I guess.
Minnesota, Denver. Those are teams that could make the conference finals in the West.
I'm not buying Minnesota at all. I'm not buying Minnesota at all. I think the Lakers have a better chance to make the conference finals than the Timberwolves.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that, actually.
I think
losing Cat's a huge blow.
I think Houston is going to be sneaky good this year. And what I mean by sneaky good is like make the conference finals sneaky good.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Houston is just make the playoffs sneaky good. That was going to be like one of the teams when you were like, or maybe just a team who missed the playoffs who could get in. Houston was like, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
I think that they can make a conference finals. And the reason I say that is because I think the West got worse across the board pretty much. Besides OKC and besides Dallas, nobody even got better. Nobody. In fact, everybody seemed to have gotten worse. Yeah. And I think Houston makes a big jump here, and because I think they're really deep. I like their roster, and I love Ime. I love Udoka, dog. I love him as a head coach. He made them significantly better immediately. I think that trend continues.
I think he coached his ass off.
Now they got some young players there, but they have some old heads there too, which I like. I think Fred VanVleet will be a good leader for these young guys. They're deep, and I think the way that they played at the end of last year wasn't a fluke. The way that they like charged up the started winning a bunch of games towards the end of the season, all those things. I don't think any of those things were a fluke. I think that we see a similar situation like we saw with Monty Williams in Phoenix, where all of a sudden, when Phoenix missed the play-in and then all of a sudden they were good. I think that that's the kind of flip that we're going to see. And nobody can convince me, unless Anthony Edwards becomes the best player in the world, which is possible. It is certainly possible. Minnesota has a 0% chance of being better this year than last year. I know that they have some young players on the bench that are getting better.
At the end of the day, for sure, they're going to be worse than last year.
Mike Conley ain't going to be better. Julius Randle's not a good fit with Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has pretty much sunk that franchise for the next couple of years as far as salary cap goes, as far as being able to add talent.
Yeah,
all those things. Don't like it. And then I think, Warriors are worse unless we see Buddy Hield shoot 45% from 3, which is also possible. I don't think that they even sniff the playoffs.
I don't think so either.
Sacramento's interesting as far as just like because they're the Kings and they usually suck. So like we'll see it. We'll see them maybe get bounced out second round of the playoffs. But yeah, I think Houston has a chance to go all the way to the conference finals and whoever they play there. Because I think that there's a chance that we see like Luka may be banged up, Kyrie may be banged up, Clay may be banged up, and we see the Mavericks at like the 4 seed. And then they got to play OKC.
If there's any team in the West.
What do you say?
I think if there's any sleeper team in the West who could sneak into the conference finals, I think it would be Sacramento.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really interesting team that I want to see play because I just
Depends
don't.
on who they run into.
And I don't love the Sabonis. I don't love Sabonis's game. I don't like. He's good, and he makes every team. He makes every team better that he's on. But having to be at the solid 2 option every night, I don't know if that's the appropriate place for him.
Too big of a role for him.
Well, he has to also pull 13 rebounds a night and get 6 assists a night, and his body's not built
Yeah.
to play 82 games and do all these things. Like you're not fat enough to absorb all this punishment. And I just don't think it's a good position for him to be in. Like they play him at the 5 a lot, and he needs to be a 4 at all times. You guys need to go put a big body in there somewhere.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
even like anybody who's 7 feet tall, anybody who's 7 feet tall in the NBA that's mildly decent, you got to get in there immediately and take some of this pressure off of him because he's not going to last. He's not going to last.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see kind of what Sacramento does. Of course, DeMar DeRozan's a fantastic addition, but I don't know, man. Houston's that team where I'm like maybe, but of course they're a sleeper team for me. So it's like if they get bounced out in the fucking play-in, I don't maybe. And then
I think that's most likely the scenario for them.
big prediction: a consistent NBA All-Star. Will one be moved by the trade deadline? And if so, who do you think it's going to be?
I feel like surely the Clippers have to do something, right? Like you got to move fucking Harden or Kawhi or both, or you gotta trade, do something. I don't know who else that like. What other franchises in a position who has a star player who either the player wants out or the franchise needs to do something to make a shift?
Yeah.
But the Clippers, like, it's time to blow things up. I know you, it's not a good timing because you're moving into your new arena and stuff, but you can either win 45 games for the next 2 years and 3 years and continue just mediocrity, or you can blow it up and try to get to a position where you can contend again.
Well, the thing is who wants these guys, right? Like that's the thing is you have to think of like nobody's
I don't want either one of them.
Nobody's taking James Harden. No, nobody.
I definitely don't want James Harden, and I definitely don't want motherfucking Kawhi.
Well, if you take Kawhi, you have to be a good enough team to where you have to know that he's only going to play 25 minutes a night, 20 minutes a night for 50 games of the season, and then hopefully in the playoffs he holds up.
Right.
And I don't think there's any teams in the NBA except for Milwaukee good enough to justifiably do it.
Yeah, I ain't rolling the dice on that.
If I'm Milwaukee, I'll roll the dice. If I'm Milwaukee, I'll roll the dice.
Facts.
I'm rolling
Me too.
Like, here's Chris Middleton, here's Brook Lopez, and whatever first-round picks I can get my hands on, here you guys go. Like, I'd risk it all. If I'm them, I'll risk it. Because I have Giannis under contract. So
You're going to lose Giannis if you don't anyway.
And I can get in as many assets as I need back for Giannis. So it's not like I'm like my tank's empty and I have to start completely over. Like I'll just trade Giannis and get 5 first-round picks, and and now my war chest is full again. So I don't really think that like they have a very unique situation there, and I've never even thought of that until just now. But I would fucking love for Kawhi Leonard to go to Milwaukee.
That'd be awesome. I would love that.
But my thing is like I wonder who's finally going to get desperate enough and go after Trey Young. Who's going to do it? Is that not the move that Denver should make? Is that not the move that Denver should make so Jamal Murray can slide to the 2 and you have Trey Young and Joker? Is that not the move that they should make?
I think that would be a fire move. I think there's a lot of teams that could use Trey Young, but why is no one trying to go after this guy?
Everybody can
Everybody.
use Trey. Every single team in the NBA except for the New York Knicks, because him and Jalen Brunson together would be a disaster, could use Trey Young.
Yeah.
The fact that he's not a Los Angeles Laker right now is fucking disgusting. It is fucking disgusting how perfect of a mesh that is to give LeBron James resting time, to throw oops to Anthony Davis, to be able to shoot their biggest weakness last year was playmaking outside of LeBron James and shooting the goddamn three-pointer, and you have the second best player in the league at both of those things when you have a combination of the two. He's the only player outside of Steph. He is the best player in the league between if you can't create offense and you can't make threes, he can fix both of those instantaneously. And
Yeah, you got to
he's
bring this
probably
dude
not
in.
going to get hurt because he's only 7 years old. Obviously, by the way he looks, he's a baby still. So he's going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And he's going to be rambunctious and he's going to have energy. So I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know what people are doing. It kind of blows me away. Like if you're the fucking Miami Heat and you can pair up Trey Young, Jimmy, and Bam, how's that not been done? Why has that not been done?
I feel you. I feel you.
Like it doesn't make any sense for any of these teams to pass on these guys. Like, why is Trey Young not a San Antonio Spur right now? You had the draft capital.
I agree. I agree. He should be on one of those teams. Like, why is someone not making a move for this dude? Your team is going to be better with him, guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
So, I'm with you.
Or even if you're Minnesota.
Hopefully Trey Young gets moved, though.
Or even if you're Minnesota. You're telling me that Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo make your team better than Trey Young? No.
Yeah.
I know they don't have a lot of assets over there, but you got to, like, if you would have attached Rudy Gobert for Trey Young and included, like, a couple of your young players that are pretty good off the bench that play fat defense, now you would have lost some defense and you would have lost some depth. But Trey Young, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards, there's way better tandem than Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, and Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, but they couldn't afford Cat's contract, though.
I don't give a shit. You afford it. You afford it, dude. You afford it.
You gonna pay $180 million in luxury tax to not even win a championship, though?
If you have Trey Young, Anthony Edwards, and Karl Anthony Towns, you have a better chance than almost anybody else in the league to get it done. Number one. Number two.
Definitely, but it's not guaranteed, though.
But then see how your team does till the trade deadline, and then trade Cat after that. But you got to do something. I'm just saying that every single team in the NBA should be. Like, even the Orlando Magic, like, you guys are like, well, we need some playmakers. We need some point guards. And it's just like, I know you guys are focusing on defense and hard-nosed basketball down there, and I can respect it. But, like, Trey Young and Paolo and Wagner would have been a nasty 3 in the Eastern Conference. So, that's all I'm saying.
The game's always been about buckets.
It's what it's always been about, dude. And the only other player that I could see maybe getting traded this year who is like, maybe not, he's not a consistent all-star, but he is an all-star level talent consistently. He's just hurt a lot, is LaMelo Ball. If you're the Hornets, what are you even doing anyways? Like, you're not doing anything anyway, so who gives a shit?
The Hornets ain't doing nothing. They're one of those franchises. It's like you're playing Monopoly, right? You're not like actually like playing. You're just running around, pass and go.
Right. No,
that's all you're doing.
real.
You're just running around the board, pass and go. That's the Hornets, dog.
It's
These
embarrassing.
motherfuckers ain't doing nothing. They're literally just going through the motions of being a professional sports franchise.
That is what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. So
But I think Trey Young. I don't know, man. We'll see if Trey Young gets moved or not. If you're Atlanta, you might as well move him. You guys, they've been between like 35 and 42 wins now for like 4 years in a row. That's purgatory.
that's that's always been Atlanta's MO. I've been watching basketball for 30 years, and that's what the
Right.
Hawks have always been: is the 6 to 8 seed.
Right.
Because they're a franchise that doesn't give a shit about winning. They don't give a shit about their fans. All they care about is making money. And
yeah.
if you want to make the most money, that's where you want to be, is sneaking into the playoffs, maybe make it to the second round, make it to the conference finals once every fucking 15 years,
Right.
and then just be okay, but never be great and never
Right.
suck. That's how you make the most money. But that's sucker shit. And
Agreed.
I would never be a fan of a team like that.
No way. No way.
Not happening.
No, I agree 100%. We have
Free Trey Young. Get him out of there.
dog 1,000%, man. It's insane.
Free this man.
Insane. It's insane that he has to play this.
Atlanta is NBA purgatory. Atlanta is NBA purgatory. That's the worst franchise. That's worse than being on like a team that's just like in the dumpster, dog.
No way. At least you can maybe sniff the playoffs,
It
dog.
depends why you're in the dumpster.
I would
depends
never
why
play
you're
for
in
the
dumpster.
Pistons.
See, that's a different dumpster. If you're in a dumpster on a rebuild, that's one thing. But if you're in a dumpster that just stays a dumpster, like Detroit, that's not what you're looking for.
I don't
Charlotte.
understand how you can have a top 10 pick every fucking year. Like, I bet you the Detroit Pistons
never
have
get
picked in
better.
the top 10 for the last 5 or 6 years. And none of your players are
Yeah.
any good. What the fuck is happening? Like, Cade Cunningham's solid. Like, good for you. Like, that was a solid draft pick. You had the 1 pick, though. So, not that fucking difficult to find a fringe all-star with the 1 pick. It should be impossible not to
Right.
have it. Should be impossible.
Right.
So, Detroit bottom feeders again for sure. It'll be interesting to see though. We'll know a lot in the next. Actually, not for a while, not till Christmas because nobody plays hard. But I'm still excited.
NBA tournament. NBA tournament in like a week and a half it starts.
Well,
So we'll get some good basketball soon.
I hope players give a shit about it again this year. I think that they will for the $1 million. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
I think that we're just gonna have to start doing podcasts a lot more with the NBA season being back, baby. Like this is last question.
Yeah.
Last
Absolutely.
question I have for you because I'm just curious. Completely off fucking topic. Has nothing to do with the NBA. Just to switch over to the NFL for a second because I haven't talked to you about this yet, and I'm sure we'll be on the phone in the next 15 minutes. But I was curious. Can anybody beat the Baltimore Ravens at football ever again?
Well, the Chiefs are undefeated, and Patrick Mahomes has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. So if he can turn back into the real Patrick Mahomes, I would expect the Chiefs to be able to beat the Ravens, but nobody else.
I don't like. I'm a Chiefs dick rider, not because I'm a fan, but because it's like you can't pick anybody else until proven otherwise, right?
Right.
Like they've won fucking 3 championships in 5 years and have went back to back and are searching for a three-peat. And they're winning without some of their like everybody keeps talking about. Oh my god, like I'm a Rams fan. We injured. Everybody's like the San Francisco 49ers are injured, and their injuries are pretty stout. But like the Chiefs are missing Pacheco, the Chiefs are missing Hollywood Brown, the Chiefs are missing Rashee Rice. Like they're missing they're missing their 3 most important players on offense besides Patrick Mahomes. I know people will argue with me like, oh well, Travis Kelce's there. Travis Kelce ain't the same Travis Kelce. Everybody like they need this speed
man
on the outsides.
Yeah,
they need this
absolutely.
shit. Like,
absolutely.
So like they win every football game, even with all these injuries. So that's my thing is like we'll see but I'm having a hard time believing that if Derrick Henry rushes for 167 yards a game and Lamar Jackson gets to just sit around and just pick apart defenses whenever he feels like it because they have to play the run every possession. I mean, him and Derrick Henry are combining for like 200 rushing yards a fucking game right now. And
yeah,
I mean, what are you supposed to do when you have the best running back in football and you have arguably the best overall football player in football and Lamar Jackson? Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, in week 1, they lost to the Chiefs barely. They only rushed Derrick Henry 12 times. Second week, they dropped the ball because they were disappointed about losing to the Chiefs. Fine. And they've beat the shit out of pretty much everybody since. I know they went to overtime with Cincy.
Yeah.
Cincy's almost back to 500 now because they're not scrubs. Like, everybody knew that they were going to find a way to claw back into playoff contention. And even after the first week, I remember talking to Dilly, and they like he was like, well, the Ravens are 0-2. And I'm like, they're going to win like the next 5 or 6 games for sure. Just wait. Like, it's just And then here they are. Here they are, everybody. So this is the only year.
On paper, the Ravens got like maybe the best roster in the NFL and one of the best coaches. Like they're going to be okay after starting off 0-2.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is I'm on a limb of saying that I don't know if I've ever seen a better offense than this because it is legitimately impossible to defend. Like.
It would have been awesome if Devontae Adams would have went there.
Hell yeah, dog! Because we tried to
tell him on the last podcast. Don't go to New York. We tried to tell him. He didn't listen.
We tried to tell him, dog. Because we've seen a lot of good offenses in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. Like I remember seeing The Greatest Show on Turf. But this is up there with The Greatest Show on Turf. That's the only other team that I can compare to them because we've seen a lot of teams with great quarterbacks and great wide receiver duos. We've seen some guys with some good running backs as a good quarterback. But I don't know if we've ever seen motherfuckers getting down like this. Like this shit is fucking wild. Because Derrick Henry is built like a fucking dump truck, but he can run like a Ferrari. It's fucking insane. Like I've been saying this for like the last 3 or 4 years. I've never seen a running back better than him except for Adrian Peterson. It's the only running back I've ever seen with my own eyes that are better than Derrick Henry, and I'm starting to think that he's as good as Adrian Peterson. That's how good this dude is. And
I ain't mad at that.
And now you have Lamar Jackson back there too. I don't like if I was a defense, I'd fucking give up. Like I'd just fall down after the second quarter. I'm like, I'm hurt. Because like, so if you play like I don't know, like play action's insane. Because even if they do a play action play, you still have to play the run from Lamar Jackson. Like how the fuck are you supposed to stack the box on these guys and then stop their tight ends, and then stop Zay Flowers on it seems just impossible. It seems impossible. And like the Lions offense is amazing. Like it's amazing. Did you read that picture I sent you
Lions
yesterday?
are fire.
Did you see that picture?
Nah.
That they have more touchdowns, offensive touchdowns than incompletions.
Yeah. Crazy.
In the last 4 games. First team to ever do it.
Yeah. Bonkers.
That is some wild fucking efficiency. However, though, the reason that I think that the Detroit Lions offense is not as good as the Ravens is because the Detroit Lions offense is gimmicky at times, which there's nothing wrong with it. These trick plays, everything they do, I'm here for it. Keep doing it. It can get you guys a Super Bowl if you do it right. I ain't mad at the gimmick offense, dude, because their offense can still line up and smack you in the mouth and run the football. Like they're not just a gimmick.
Yeah.
But like the fucking goddamn Ravens can line up in the I formation all football game if they feel like it and still beat you. The most simplest offense formation, if they feel like doing it, they will do it and score 35 fucking points on you. And I don't think any other team in the NFL can do that. But I do like the Lions. I do like their offense. I love watching the Lions play. Love it. I watch them every week. But I just had that.
I like watching the Lions play too.
I had that question for you because it's just like these motherfuckers are dominant. And the Lions are dominant too. Like Hutchinson being out and then these motherfuckers going. And I believe that game was in Minnesota on Sunday. I'm like 99% sure that game was in Minnesota. And I think Minnesota's on upset alert this week too. So, like, we'll kind of see if they start to fall a little bit or if they're able to pick themselves back up. They have the Rams this week on a short week. Rams on a short week. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for them. Like, the Rams suck, but we're one of those teams
Luckily, the Rams had a bye.
No, we played the Raiders. We basically had a bye.
Oh, yeah, we did play the Raiders.
I mean, might as well have a bye. Raiders are the worst team in football, arguably, after the Panthers and Giants. So... But yeah, we're a sneaky
that's
team,
one of
though.
the teams you look forward to playing.
Right, and we're a sneaky team.
You see the Raiders on the schedule, you're like, damn, hell yeah, we needed a win. Good thing we get to play these guys.
Fucking W, dog. But we're running a little long on time. I just wanted to get a brief little thing of how you felt about the Ravens because I'm starting to think that, like, this is one of the greatest football teams that I've ever seen.
They might be.
If Pat Mahomes beats these motherfuckers, dog, like, because the way that he beat the Dolphins and the Bills and the Ravens last year in the playoffs, and if he comes out and beats the Bills again because they got Amari Cooper, and then he comes out and they beat Baltimore again in like an AFC title game, even though they have Derrick Henry and all these other guys, and then they go out and beat the Lions in the Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, like fine, here you go. Here's the GOAT.
As good as they come.
Here's the GOAT. Like I don't give a fuck. I'll start saying it. So it's been real, right, comedy fans. To the 2 or 3 of you that end up watching this all the way through, thank you so much. This podcast is about to get a lot fucking better though. Give me till All-Star break of the NBA season. This podcast is gonna be much more fucking legit, and we're gonna do some wild shit.
Yeah, we got some things we're brainstorming for y'all to make it more entertaining. So
I got some ideas for you, Ichi.
We appreciate y'all.
I got some ideas for you.
Can't wait.
All right, I'll holla.
Can't wait.
Peace, everybody.
Appreciate y'all rocking with us.